Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Rahma. Today, what I will be doing is I'll be taking you through this presentation that focuses on the Go2School campaign led by the Madam Minister and Sikandar Khan from UNICEF. So, the Go2School campaign is a new initiative, and the target is simple. It's about getting 1 million additional children into education. There is a vision, and the vision at the moment is one that I think Madam Minister will talk about very eloquently, as she's done in the past couple of days, as she's been sharing information about this particular initiative. She has a vision of seeing a very educated population and more children and more young people going into education for the development, for all of our development. And I think the key thing to say about this program, before I start going over the technical aspects of it, is that it is our program. And when I say our program, it's about helping young people into education, children and youth, but it's also led by young people, which is what makes it such a fantastic opportunity. Now, the Somali federal government has recognized education as a key priority in rebuilding peace. And the Go2School initiative is something that is led by the Ministry for Human Development and Public Services. It's a nationwide campaign, and though coordinated by the ministry, it is also supported and backed by UNICEF. And the call is for 1 million children to get into education in 2013, which is this year. And that the entire program will run for 3 years. There is an entire strategy document that I think the ministry has reiterated that it's willing to share with everyone. It's currently in a draft document, but it will all be it will be shared with you. The goals of this program is to get formal and non-formal, use formal and non-formal strategies to get the million children into education. 287 children are targeted through formal primary education. 376,000 children are targeted through alternative basic education programs. 337 are targeted through life skill-based programs, and these different figures represent different age groups. So you have the 6 to 13-year-olds, and then you have the 14 to 18-year-olds. Of course, girls' education will have a specific focus, and the minister has reiterated that time and time again, and it's included in the strategy to focus on young girls and empower them through education. And in terms of the youth that are currently not in employment, that are not in education, they are attracted by many evils, as you know, whether it's terrorism, or whether it's piracy, or whether it's any other things that idle hands can get up to. For that reason, youth internship programs will be developed targeting them. The strategic outcomes are these 3 main outcomes that are highlighted here. And it's not about only getting 1 million additional children into education, it's about getting them quality education. And targeting the marginalized young people is also a way to ensure their rights. And as I've mentioned, the unemployed and vulnerable youth will be empowered, and they'll be targeted through this initiative. Now, the immediate priorities for the ministry, who's only been in office for 3 months, is to develop the ministry and develop technical staff. And then the second priority is this campaign, the Go2School campaign, which will involve rehabilitating and constructing schools, identifying teachers, teacher training programs, teacher incentive programs, and then the pre-positioning of supplies, which is furniture, teaching materials, and etc., everything else that is needed. Now, what's brought you all here today is to not only learn about this campaign, but also learn what you guys can do to help this campaign. And there are quite a few stakeholders. NGOs can be part of helping this campaign. and so can any other groups, youth groups. I think there are a couple in here, can be a part of it. Sorry. Okay, no. And one of the things that the diaspora youth can do is there's an initiative to bring young people back from the diaspora to become teachers and volunteer as part of a teaching program. You can volunteer for a set amount of time where if you've graduated from A-levels, you can become a primary school teacher. And if you've graduated from university, you can become a secondary school teacher. It's a good opportunity for anyone who wants to get engaged. And I think the main call, the main address that you will hear tonight is a call for human resource. And without further ado, I would like to hand over to Mr. Sikandar Khan from UNICEF.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Dear friends, some of you are younger than me, but most of you are older than me, because I'm also young. So thank you for taking the time. I know how busy you must be. And I really would like to share with you some of the reasons why such an initiative has come about, thanks to the vision of the Honorable Minister and the parents, and I'm sure the kids as well. So I will just give you a simple sort of, lay of the land as to what it is right now that we actually in Somalia are faced with. If you look at the present enrollments, they're pretty bad. You are among the very few lucky ones that have actually managed to come this far in your sort of progress and development. I'm sure you know it more than I do, but there are many more out in Somalia, in the various parts of the country, who at best have been able to see the outside of a school, and those are not very many. At worst, about 80% have really not managed to get into a classroom where they have felt comfortable, they've felt secure, and they have acquired some learning around that. 1 million is not a big number, but 1 million is a significant number. It can turn the whole thing around. I will clear out a few sort of misperceptions before I actually proceed into the details of the thought. First of all, whatever contributions are made will have to be made to the program and not necessarily to UNICEF. This is about Somali child. This is not about UNICEF. Okay? Secondly, the leadership and guidance has to come from Somalis. The technical support that is lacking at the moment, unfortunately, over the past 20 years, we have lost the technical expertise. That is a contribution that UNICEF, yourselves, and others, whoever wish to come and contribute, should make that contribution. So if there is any misperception that this is something that UNICEF wants to raise funds for its own self, no. This is contribution for a Somali child. That Somali child, if it's 6 years old, is just about to feel the flavor, especially in center-south region of the country, but across the countryside. And if you're not privileged, you can basically, a child is born, dies, there's no name, there's no identity, nobody knows, it's a number. We saw it during the famine, all of you contributed, and that positive turn has taken. So please, let's clarify that none of this money that is being asked for is for UNICEF. This money is for the Somali child, and there will be many mechanisms, whatever is convenient, but there will be accountable mechanisms. There'll have to be a coordinated mechanism, and as Rahma mentioned, the support to the Somali authorities at the various levels will have to be given with the contribution with human resources from yourselves and others who are not here this evening, so that we can actually deliver whatever dollar is spent, there's an account for that dollar. And by the end of it, there's a child who has gone to school. Number one. The second, if you look at the demography of the country at the moment, 70% of the population is below 35. 70%. Now, it can either be a very positive human resource, or it can be whatever it has been so far, unfortunately. Your choice. You're the privileged ones out here, I dare say that. It's your choice, turn it around. Over the past few years, what do people remember when they say Somali youth? It's a pirate somewhere, it's somebody who is fighting, it's somebody... But that's not about Somalia. I know very little, but what I have read, and when I meet all of you, that's not Somalia. Opportunities have to be provided. And I know even a slight opportunity is going to turn this whole thing around. You have been patient with your elders, with your siblings, with your youngsters for so many years. But one thing I've seen in Somalia, given opportunity, it multiplies. It's the sharpest nation that I have seen so far. I've worked in many countries. Believe me, give a letter and a Somali will convert that into a word, into a sentence, into an article, into a book, into a biography. Let's look at that side of Somalia. Let's look, it's a nation of poets. I mean, for God's sake, even somebody who doesn't have food to eat will come up with a beautiful poem, even about that hardship, but with such beauty that you think some guy is sitting in a comfortable place writing poetry. That's the Somalia that we are talking about. It's the coastal youth that you're looking at, where livelihood opportunities can be unlimited. These youngsters who are waiting for services to be provided can take pride in becoming the service providers rather than waiting for services to be provided. I think we have to draw a line. You have to draw a line as the youth. Draw a line of what has happened, and across that line is the positive turn that it has to take. The starting point is these kids have no business to be sitting around on roadsides, idle there, somebody doubts them, somebody pushes them, all of that stuff. These children and these youngsters need to be at par with whatever we have here. Nowhere in any book has it written that a Somali child is not equal to another child. But we have to start the process. This has to start. 2 generations have been lost so far to conflict, disagreement, to all sorts of things, to misery, to death. And I think we can't afford to lose another generation. Children keep on growing up. We can disagree about anything else. The only point that we cannot disagree around is the child's well-being. And it starts now with sending them to learning spaces, as Rahma mentioned, 3 bands of it. The first band, to go through the basic education. The second band is the ones who are on the move, out of choice. But together with that are children that are on the move because they get displaced constantly. We have to look after those as well. The third band is the youth segment that can be trained, they can do catch-up education, they can turn the whole thing around, become teachers, become health workers, become whatever they want to become. Everybody has got an aspiration. I was in Mogadishu and I spoke to one young boy on one of the near kilometer 6, those of you who have been recently there. I went and I said, so young man, what do you plan to do? And this is like a 13, 14-year-old, huh? And has probably not made it to any school yet, but perhaps learned here and there. And in very basic broken English, he said to me, engineer, huh? I mean, what else do you want? What else do you want? You look around, the whole thing is falling apart to an outsider. There is this one who is standing there, he's looking at everything, I want to be an engineer. I mean, as if telling me, do you think I'm going to be sitting here all my time? No. Opportunity. Let's give it that opportunity, please. Let's spread the word. It's not about politics. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. My job is not about politics. And if it had been about the politics, the Madam Minister would not have chosen education. Huh? This is the last thing on people's minds in politics. This is about securing the future of Somalia. You have chosen the right place to be at, and inshallah, you'll do much, much better. You're already doing much better. But those cousins that are there, how long will you be sort of trying to contribute and keep people alive? It's not about you doing that endlessly. It's about you making investments now in human capital that one day will actually help you sitting here. I come from a small village, I myself. I come from a small village. And believe me, when the going gets tough for me, it's those cousins of mine who are sitting in that village there, who don't wear suits and ties. Those are the ones who actually back me up. And I'm sure that's the type of relationship that you have as well. The only difference is that my cousins have the opportunity, your cousins don't have it yet, but you will make it happen. And that is something that we have to do this evening and from now on. Now, quickly coming back to the numbers, 1 million is nothing. We have seen it in even more difficult situations when there was reluctance to send children to school. And we got 2 million in 4 months. In Somalia, as an outsider, I dare say that there is that desire to learn. Desire to learn. The only thing you have to do is to make the opportunity to be able to recognize letters and words. And with that comes the environment itself. And I think it's not going to be difficult for us to do this. Contributions in terms of voluntary work, contributions in terms of whatever support can be given. Even I was saying yesterday to some people, I said the least you can do is to pray. That doesn't cost anything. If you're unable to do anything, just pray. Just support. Don't disagree with it, just support it. And that is what is needed at this point. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of questions that you have, because I haven't gone into the details and the technical bit of it, but I just wanted to tell you what is the spirit behind it, what is the idea behind it, and what is the reason behind it. And this is for the entire country. This is not about preferring one or the other. It is actually the entire country. And let's get into a healthy competition. If some part of the country wants to have 2 million in school, Bismillah, let's do it. Yeah? So 1 million is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's get into a competition and let's take it even beyond that. I think 4 million are not studying at the moment. Let's go to 4 million if we can. Let's not go below 1 million. That is the test for us. Anything above that, I'll stand there and I'll salute as we go forward from there. I thank you, and I'll be here to answer any questions you have.
In terms of the strategic plan, this is where I'm a bit confused, having been involved about the World Bank and UNICEF. It's becoming unclear to many diaspora network and many organizations that were involved in education in Somalia that the plan will cost 43 million, what we understand. And it says that 36% of that money will go to UNICEF, management and administration. It is really shocking, and I think we need some clarification for that.
UNICEF does not take 36%. There is 7% that is actually authorized by the executive board of UNICEF. that is actually the overhead that comes in. Then there is a percentage that is charged for providing technical support. And that's how the whole thing is worked out. I'm sure you're very familiar with it, but I can provide the actual sort of number. It's not 36% at all.
The technical, how much is going to be, sir?
But it's not 36. I will give you the percentage. I'll just text somebody in Nairobi, they'll give me the percentage. But it is not 36%, that is not. There are joint programs that are being run by other parts of the UN at the moment, whereby the management agent overheads are charged over it, and it's not even 36, it goes up to 46%. Okay? I have officially dissociated UNICEF from that kind of overheads. And in fact, in one of the meetings, I think the Honorable Minister was there, when we were part of that joint program, I raised my hand and I said, no, UNICEF will not be associated with this kind of overheads. 7% for headquarters, 15% for cross-sectoral.
Oh, I didn't know that you were doing your homework.
I was doing my homework. I knew it, but I wanted to confirm it. So if you have anything else, I'll be happy to look into that as well. So it's total 23%.
What is the structure? What are you looking for? A 6 months placement? A year? Because we've got to obviously look at our personal finances, our families, and plan the journey from that outset. And the second question is regarding training. I mean, I've been involved in projects in local government for 10 years. So I haven't taught, obviously went through university, but I haven't taught schools. So what are the overall training facilities or even plans for training staff and young people for this sort of program? Because you don't expect us to enter school straight away, if you like.
The youngsters who want to come back to Somalia, whether it's 1 year or 3 months or 6 months, yes, we accept, because we know the situation in Somalia is really very difficult, and whoever is offering something, whether it's 3 months or 1 year, we want everything that we can get, and there will be some kind of coordination for those who want to come back. It's not just that they just come and go to Somalia. There will be a system in place, coordination for those who want to volunteer and come back. Again, training, yes. For the teachers that we have now in Somalia, for the old teachers, we are giving them a short training, and they start with that. And also for we have in Somalia youth who finish secondary schools. We will use them, give them training. They can teach at the primary education. Also, we have in Somalia some who finish at universities. We will use them. But again, it's not enough. All of those are not enough. Just it is like doing whatever is doable. So anybody who can volunteer, whether it's 1 year, 3 months, whatever, it's really great. And about yes, training, yes, there is training. And also, it's not that everybody coming to Somalia going to remote areas. No. It's not like that.
My question is related to safety and security, which Dr. Maryan Qasim just touched on. I want to know what kind of measures that you're planning to put in place to make sure that girls especially are safe from violence and rape. And because this is a barrier to education, it's all good and well saying that we're going to allow them to have an education, we're going to set up these schools and enroll them into school, but how are they going to feel safe? What kind of security or safety measures would you put in place to allow these girls to go to school and for them to have a better future? Thank you.
We know about the security situation in Somalia. Today at Chatham House, a lady asked me, yes, that question is always there. When I was about 14 years in Somalia, 15 years, I could have gone everywhere, and there was no fear. And we went to the Ololaha, Miyiga. We were very young, and we were sent to remote areas, but there was no fear. Now things have changed. The security issue is there, but we are not sending our young people from diaspora just sending to where there is no security. Yes, we know, and that is something we are taking into account.
But the question is, and I've read some research or report done by UNICEF in Puntland and Somaliland, and they done the census, how many children go to school, but I haven't seen that in sub and central Somalia. So my question is, currently in the sub and central Somalia, what is the population of children who should go to school? And out of this, how many are in school? And out of this, how many are not in school? Because we can say 1 million, and then if we do not have that data, and later on we want to ask how well did the initiative become fruitful or not, then it will be difficult. So I think that's important. And the question is, how do we get this data? How do we know if this is the fact? Because I come across a lot of different data, which sometimes doesn't add up.
The data needs to be updated. Mix 4 has not taken place in Centre South. The Education Management Information System is very much active now. It's working. In fact, I was in one of the meetings in Mogadishu about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. Yes. I sat with, and there are some very bright youngsters, I must admit, who were actually working on that. So all of you, those who would like to be part of that, please tell us. Let's contribute to it. You can do it from here as well. I mean, everything is online these days, yeah? But point very well taken, and I think we need to keep that updated. Thank you.